go on in. Just while we're walking in, I'll give you a little info about the way I started. I actually started with making cold pressed juices in a food truck down at the Cooper Young Farmers Market. And we did that in that year-round farmers market for 2 years. And after those 2 years, we established our spot here, right here in Memphis. There's my little sign there that I'm so proud of. So glad to be here. All right. So this is our little spot. It's a little noisy because we have stuff going on. Nobody's here though. It's just noisy. The walk-in cooler. So this is just our front dining room area, and this is where we serve our customers. We do carry our 3 flavors on tap: the hibiscus berry, the lavender love, and the sweet ginger. We are hoping to bring out a new flavor sooner than later. Okay. My goal was to help people at least start thinking about alternatives to prescription medicines and um, thinking about what they put in their body to achieve even daily, like better happy feelings and health. And so my family has always been said to have healing hands or have alternatives. And so when I read about kombucha and all the benefits, I had to try it. But we were just in that little food truck selling the juices. And so it wasn't really enough space to make a lot of them. And then actually, my first batch I started at home and in my laundry room, and it didn't come out good at all. And so it made me step away, step back from it. And then when we got this spot, it's more controlled. It's not a place where you put dirty socks or anything. And so since kombucha is an open air ferment, it uh, grabs out of the air and cleans even. It has cleansing properties. So you definitely want to have it in a more controlled environment. So that's something to keep in mind when you get your kombucha kits is where you're going to put it. It needs to be put in a place that's free of smells and strong smells, um, as well as not extreme cold as well, or extreme heat for that matter. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. All right. Rolling back the door. All right. So yeah, this is where my husband actually makes the kombucha. Let's see. Okay. All right. Sometimes we make cold brew coffee, so there's our coffee grinder. Um, but here are our flavoring funnels. This is not the first step. Maybe I should go in order. Let's go in order. Okay. All right. So we go this way. All right. So what we do first is we boil. Okay. All right. All right. We boil water. Water comes into this valve here, and it fills this stainless steel drum. It's a 55-gallon drum, and it has a heating element inside it. Okay, so big drum, and we can tell the temperature it gets to by looking at this dial. So when it gets to boiling, maybe not quite 212 degrees, but maybe I think he'll go ahead and call it even as low as 190 degrees, because the point is to steep the. We use a black tea, and so I believe at 180, all microbes are gone. And definitely 190 is a safe zone. And the tea doesn't need to be have boiling water. So that's something also to keep in mind with your kits. Okay, so after the black tea is added and steeped, and for your tea, steep for no longer than 3 minutes. Okay, and so once the tea is steeped, it's the tea is pulled out, and then this is called a heat exchange system. Science is one of my first loves. Okay, science is one of my first loves, so this fascinated me. These plates are called chillers, and cold water runs on um, runs one way, and the hot tea runs another way, and as they pass each other, heat is removed from the tea. So the hot tea comes from the big big barrel down a tube, and then cold water runs another way. And as the hot tea makes its way up, it passes the cold water, and again, that 190-degree hot tea is chilled down to about 80 degrees in one exchange, which I find very fascinating. I want to add also, before that tea is pulled out, we add a non-GMO sugar, and sugar does is not great for you, but it's great for kombucha, and kombucha eats the sugar. It's I think the fermentation process is called the Krebs cycle, but your science teacher can get you more information. But it is a measurable uh, uh, rate of actually digesting the sugar, and so you have to feed it. You have to feed the kombucha. So before it is actually uh, pulled out of before it is actually pulled out of the boiler, we do dilute the sugar in it. Okay, and that just takes a big paddle. Okay, maybe it's been okay, and that just means you just take this big paddle and stir it up. Stir. And it doesn't take that long because remember the water or then tea is 190 degrees. So the stirring with, and then this also has a little whirlpool in it too. It can get some motion going. So I'm not sure even if he uses that paddle anymore because this is new, well, fairly new. But either way, you're melting, the sugar into the hot tea before it gets to the uh, fermentation barrels, and that's what these three are. Okay, so okay, and so we don't. For us, we don't take the tops off of our fermentation barrels often. It keeps everything sanitized and no creepy crawlies because at the bottom of this is a little spout, and then we can disconnect from the chiller, that plate chiller I showed you, and connect it right here. And so you really just you're feeling from the bottom, and so it just fills on up. And so as the kombucha is okay, all right, all right. As the okay, as the kombucha uh, it um, it sits in the fermentation barrel. That cycle just keeps going. And you got a certain, the barrel is not empty when it's filled with the tea. Some starter or kombucha from the other batches are still in there. And so it's just like you would if you've ever known anybody to make bread, or they use a starter, okay, like sourdough bread, they use a starter. And so that starter is so happy when we put fresh tea in there because now you got some tea which has a little caffeine that kombucha loves, okay, and it's the sugar, okay, and they just eat it right up. So in your kombucha kit or in the kombucha kits, you have this little spongy layer of that looks kind of like, I don't know. Some people take that spongy layer, which is called a SCOBY, and they dry it and make vegan leather. So I don't want to say it looks like skin, but it's pretty fleshy looking. Okay, but that is the byproduct of the cycle of fermentation. Okay, and so that colony, or as the that spongy layer is called a SCOBY, which stands for a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. Okay, and so that colony, that byproduct is just teeming with those beneficial yeast. And so the reason why we put those in our kit, because you want some the strongest bacteria and yeast to keep going and make a nice, flavorful, naturally bubbly kombucha. So just to recap, we have our black tea, which has caffeine, and the sugar, which also feeds the kombucha. And the result, after putting it with the starter, the sugar level lowers. Okay, and the caffeine level is lower. We do not measure the caffeine level, but regulations require that we measure the sugar level. Okay, and we also measure the alcohol level. So you're looking at these two things. So um, you're looking at the sugar level. The sugar level going down lets you know that the kombucha is ready. And actually, that sugar level going down is shown using a pH meter. Okay? Because sugar has one pH, kombucha needs to get down to at least 4.0, below 4.0. Ours usually hovers at 3.5. Okay, the sugar, if you just had sugar water, I believe you'd be at around 4.0. But like I said, ours tends to go ahead and get on down to 3.5. It's at that pH where uh, most harmful bacteria do not grow. Okay, all right, and also if you get it down to that, you also don't grow mold. Okay, and so one thing that people who make kombucha, they make a mistake in is making their kombucha too sweet. I mean, their tea too sweet, and so you can't give the kombucha too much to eat at. You won't do it in time before the mold comes. So we don't have problems with mold because we get that just right. So in the kombucha kits, it's just the right amount for the sugar. I mean, of sugar for the kombucha to eat in the right amount of time that keeps mold from growing. So that's just our little secret. Well, most kombucha companies would know that, but people who make it at home, I've read different accounts, and they where did mold grow? It's because we're used to our sweet tea, in the South. But really, it's sweet tea, but it's really not sweet tea, according to us. Sweet tea, it'd be like, ooh, sweet, but this is barely sweet, to be honest with you. That's why, another reason why kombucha is considered a low sugar drink. It already is not terribly a lot of sugar put in the tea, and then it eats it. Okay, it's not really a high sugar drink. Okay, so another thing I wanted to bring up while I'm here, this is just my husband is the real genius, y'all. I can explain this, and he can explain it pretty well. But he built this entire like the heat exchange and the flow, and he's got us like a true nano brewery, right? We don't even we don't even touch it. We don't even touch the tea at all. It's very good process. I'm so thankful for that because I thought of the kombucha. I wanted to help
my family, started with him. And but it's one thing to have a good idea and another one to put it into motion, right? So together we make a good team, because he's not one to start ideas, but he sure can build some very awesome things. So after the kombucha is ready, and it takes approximately 10 days, we keep the temperature. We really monitor the temperature pretty good. You probably can't see this, but kombucha likes temperatures between 72 and 80 degrees. Okay. Anything too hot will kill the culture, that symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, and anything too cold would cause it to slow down. They won't die. They won't die, or the nice strong ones won't die, but they definitely slow down. And you want them to go ahead and be real live and active, for a lot of reasons, not just to metabolize the sugar and caffeine, but that's what the whole purpose of drinking kombucha is. It's a live probiotic. So the idea is that we drink it so that it can balance our blood sugars, so it can help us digest our food. So we want it to be nice and live and active.
Awesome.
All right. And then, okay. After the kombucha is ready, the sugar level drops shown by the pH. The alcohol level is not too high. Okay, let me talk about that. So when sugar ferments, it makes alcohol. All right. So this we can't sell an alcoholic product. That's not what we sell. Um, so in order to be alcoholic, it has to be higher than 0.5% of alcohol. And so we got to make sure that that level doesn't get over that. The good thing about kombucha is you're not making alcohol. The yeast, that symbiotic colony of bacteria yeast, are not very efficient at turning sugar into alcohol. They do it. There's some alcohol in it, but they're not the same yeast that you would find in beer or a wine, okay, or any a liquor that has more alcohol content in that. That's so that you have no risk in making alcohol here, because again, those yeasts are just it's just not what they're very good at making alcohol. They tend to make it so much alcohol and then they're done. Okay, so after that, after about 10 days, when those levels are exactly where we need them to be, they come into the barrels. Now, the tube,
Fermenters.
the tube can just pop into the barrel. It just goes in a food safe tube. Again, nothing touching, and then we put our flavoring. We have barrels of all kind of little flowers and cinnamon, and so when you have a kombucha kit, you can pretty much put any flavor you want in there. Honestly, kombucha really takes on the flavor of anything that's around it. We got ginger and everything. So we only use real flowers and fruit and herbs and things of that nature for our Replenish kombucha. Um, and so, yeah, we put that in a sterile bag and let that hang in there for an additional 3 days. Um, um, the best flavors are 3 days. Now, yeah, the best flavoring happens in about 3 days. All right. All right. So after that, we bring in, I guess this is all in here. We bring in kegs like this and literally put a hose in the kegs, or have an attachment that attaches to the keg, and fill the kegs with yummy kombucha. Okay, and in those kegs, okay, see, we have bigger kegs too, but either way, we keg it, roll it around into our right here, walk-in cooler. All right, all right. So a little cold in here. All right.
That's cool.
All right. So that's the bigger kegs. You see they're the filled with kombucha. Some of them are attached to taps.
Mhm.
Some of them are waiting to be bottled. Okay. So the person that bottles comes in, gets them a keg. Sometimes they'll bottle in here just because those kegs are heavy. Okay. And sometimes they'll roll it on out. Just depends. And so all right. All right. So the bottling area.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what I have to make sure. I hate looking at videos and then start talking about something like I don't see what you see. I don't know.
I can see it.
Okay. And so and we're old school. We just sanitize our little that's just the end. Um this shoots out kombucha, it attaches to the keg, sanitize it, keep it all nice and clean. And the keg, um oh goodness. Okay. The keg attaches to the gases here. And it see kombucha naturally makes CO2, okay? And if you let it sit, it will explode. Okay, you don't have to add CO2 into it. However, for replenish kombucha to make it consistently bubbly, because it's inconsistent, it's just like any natural thing, and to push it, we got, we're pushing it out of the keg, we're pushing it into bottles. We do put a little gas in there to keep that all nice and consistent, keep things going in a timely manner. All right, and so after the kombucha is bottled, um, it is put back in the refrigerator and ready to go. These are our bottles. This is our bottling area. I mean, our bottle storage. And these are some labeled bottles, labels, and then this happens separately so that when the person goes to the bottling area, they'll have labeled bottles and they sanitize and fill them and put them, and then we go right back to the cooler. And we do keep the kombucha chilled, right? Um, so that it can uh, we want it to slow down in the bottle because I have had kombucha stay out and the top lifted up because it was pushing out. Remember, it's still live, it's still active. And we've not had a glass bottle to explode, but we want to keep our product consistent. All right. And so yeah, when it comes back here, they I just took a delivery this morning, but there you have it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That is it.
Wow. Thank you.
I love what I do. I love seeing people uh, um, and get energy and tell me how it's helped them balance their bodies. It's even known to improve your mood, and I'm really happy. It's not that I'm able to do that. Oh, being the only one can be a good thing, and also have its trials. But I'm really thankful for the support I've gotten in Memphis, and I feel like I'm doing a good thing and helping people. And yeah, glad to do it. Glad to be here.
Wow. Thank you so much. This is awesome. I think the kids will be excited to see this, and the students, and they definitely can learn a lot from this process. And I just had a question because we've been researching a lot in our class, and we've been looking at some people are using the scobies to purify water because we're really looking at redesigning and rethinking our neighborhoods, and to that end, I've been researching and having the kids, we're going to start researching as well ways that we can actually use that SCOBY to do other processes other than making like kombucha, because it seems to have such a unique property of like purification. So that might be something that you might think about designing for our kids might could figure out a way to design that process. I think that would be, I don't know if you've heard anything about that or not.
I've read that. I've read that places in Japan.
Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that neat? How many, how many practical ways people can use the SCOBY, and I've even seen SCOBY candy, which is odd, right? It's like some people, yeah, they take it, boil it, and make candy out of it. So I guess that's pretty neat stuff right there. So thank you for sharing. And I was trying to think of another question for you as well. Oh Lord, so is this now? How can I say, one of the things that our kids are always looking at entrepreneurial paths. And is this your main job, or is this something you just do on the side?
Unfortunately, this is something I do on the side. However, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately. Um, the clear answer to your question, I am a elementary school teacher, and so yes, I do have a main job or another job. And my husband is a information technology support member. And, uh, and and so yeah, so we both have main jobs.
Right. So even though you have degrees and you've gotten education and you definitely went in and put in the work and research this and made this business come to life. So this is amazing, I think, for the kids for our students to see, like, the many paths you can take in this world, right? Not all of it requires necessarily a college degree, but then a lot of it may come by way of, right, too, at the same token. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I advocate college because you know great thinking happens in numbers. And often when you're even in the presence of your uh, professors and things of that nature, your brain just gets turning. So just learning makes you learn. You know, no, you don't have. I guess you don't have to go to college. I'm very thankful, and I think that most of my best learning comes from studying, using the tools that I got from college, like how to study, how to present, how companies work. I have an education degree, but I did start out in the business, college of business, and I did find it beyond fascinating. And you also can be good at many things. So pick pick something, go do great at it, and then the next thing you can do great at it as well. So I truly advocate um, going to college, but there are people who apply those same principles and they still do great. But you still got to apply those principles. That's the point.
thank you. Well, thank you for giving us your time today and sharing the gift that you're giving the city of Memphis. I think this is wonderful, and I think you provide a lot of inspiration to a lot of people who are like have that ideal sparking, and like just seeing someone actually follow through with that idea is inspiring as well. So thank you so much for this tour and sharing your world with us.
Thank you. I enjoy it. I can't wait to deliver the kits. I can't wait to hear feedback from the students on how they're doing.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, you're gonna get one soon, and hopefully this week or next week. All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.